Hello everyone, I'm Lacey, this is Sekhmet, and you are watching Reptales. So, I was in a conversation with someone the other day, and they were talking about how they're getting a new ball python. They're very excited, but they're really nervous about feeding it because they've heard so many horror stories online about what happens when you mess up feeding your snake. And she says it just seems really intimidating, and she's not entirely sure the right way to do it. So, I figure today's video, we're going to talk about how to feed your snakes. We're going to be feeding Sekhmet and Lieutenant Dan, and going through how you prepare the rat, what size rat to use, all that fun stuff. And then we will feed the babies. Look at her, look at that face. Look at that doopy little face. Least intimidating creature on the planet, this. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's get the rats thawing. Let's see what we got. Good morning. I sound like crap. Thanks, allergies. You're in my kitchen because we are going to be getting our rats ready for the snakes to eat. This is step one. Now, when I first got my snakes, when they were babies, I would go through this whole process. It was like intense, right? I would weigh their food. I have a food scale. I would weigh their rat to make sure that the rat was about 15% of their body weight, so they could have good growth. Now that they're both adults or subadults, what I'm doing is I am just making sure that I have a rat that is just a little less than the widest part of their body. So for Lieutenant Dan, that is a small rat, and for Sekhmet, I think it's a weaned rat. Not sure, but step one is obviously get your rat out. Now, I get my rats from Rodent Bro, which is really convenient because you can just keep a whole sack of frozen rats in your freezer. I love it. So convenient. So we just kind of pick out get some of that off. We just kind of pick out a small rat for Lieutenant Dan. Get yourself a sandwich bag. Drop that bad boy in. And to thaw them, and I'm doing this in the morning because I'm going to work. So while I'm at work, these bad boys will be thawing. And when I get home, I can feed the babies. We just stick that in our fridge. So Sekhmet, just kidding, Sekhmet is getting a fuzzy rat, not weaned. She's getting a rat fuzzy for her meal. You don't have to separate the bags for their rats. I just do because I'm a crazy person. And let's go ahead there. This one looks nice. This is a fuzzy rat, just a little guy. Bag him up, and in the fridge. And then while I'm at work all day, it will be doing all of the wonderful work of defrosting. And when I get home from work later, I am going to show you how to reheat your rat. And I'll tell you right now, it does not involve the microwave. You do not microwave your rats. That's the best way to make a mess and not really have a rat to feed. But yes, I'm going to work. I'll see you guys in a couple seconds. Okay, so those rats we pulled out this morning and took out to thaw, they have been thawing all day. I just got home from work. So let's take those out. Nothing too intense, nothing crazy. They're just nice and floppy. They're not solid like they were this morning. When you're picking a rat, you want to make sure you're picking a rat that is a little bit thicker than the widest part of your snake's body, because that's about as big as they can eat, and you don't want to overfeed them. I have my snakes on an every 2 weeks schedule. So every other week, I'm feeding them their rats. A small rat for Daniel and a fuzzy rat for Sekhmet. So now that they're defrosted, what's our next step, right? They are now thawed, the thawed part of the frozen thawed. But what do we do with them now? Now, your ball python, like Lieutenant Dan, they have those labial heat pits, those little dots on the side of their face. And what we're going to do, we have to make sure we get this up to rat temperature. Now, if it can look like food, it can smell like food all it wants. But if it's not warm enough, if it's not the right temperature, the ball python's not going to see it as food. Lieutenant Dan's just going to be like, no thanks, I'm good. He's going to turn it down. But if it's warm enough, he's going to be perfectly happy with that. Sekhmet does not have labial heat pits because she is a boa, so she doesn't have those. So for her, it's not as important that we get it up to rat temperature, but I still want it to be warm so it's easier for her to digest so it doesn't drop her body temperature. But I'm going to show you 2 different ways that I use to get them up to rat temperature for feeding. So what I do for my first one, I'm going to show you on Sekhmet's rat how I do my first method. So I do the way I do on this first rat because of how I have my snakes set up. The bottom enclosure, Lieutenant Dan, he's got a radiant heat panel in his house. So what I do is I find the spot on the bottom of Sekhmet's house that is on top of the heating panel for Lieutenant Dan's house. That radiant heat panel provides heat for both enclosures, which is kind of awesome. I like to save where I can, and the temperatures work out really, really well, as I talked about in our video setting up Sekhmet's house, or our Sandboa care guide. I think I talked about it there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little rat friend here, and what we're going to do is this is about the spot where it's hottest from the radiant heat panel. Sekhmet is watching. She is very interested. She's like, Mama, is it food day? Yes, baby girl, it is. So we're going to take our spot. We're going to clear away some of our substrate here. Now right here, it's nice and hot. You can feel how nice and hot it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our rat, put her right here. We're going to bury it. We're going to bury her in the walnut. And we're going to let that warm her up and get her up to temperature. We've got the small rat for Lieutenant Dan. We've got a bowl. We're going to put the rat in the bowl, like so. Next step is we're going to take some hot water. And we are going to pour hot water over the rat in the bag. Some people do this outside of the bag. I like to do it in the bag because it keeps that rat smell in there, and I want my rat to smell like rat to Daniel. Nice hot water, not boiling, but hot. And that hot water is going to get that rat up to a nice hot rat temperature in a relatively short amount of time. Rat, rat, rat. Rat, rat, rat. And we're going to let that sit until it's up to room temperature. Just kidding, not room temperature. We don't want room temperature. We want it warmer than room temperature. It's like 90 degrees in here, so honestly, if I just let it sit on the counter for a while, that probably would get it, but Missouri's hot sometimes, y'all. Missouri's hot sometimes, and I don't feel like paying that kind of electricity, you know? Now, when I first got both of these snakes, when they were both young, I had these little trackers, this paper tracker with all of their feeds, all of their poops, all of that stuff. I went hard. I do not track that anymore because they're growing, they're healthy, and they're basically adults, so I don't need to track it nearly as close. I probably didn't have to track it as much as I did before, but it was kind of fun and I really enjoyed it. So if you want, you can track the size of your rats. You can track their poop, you can track their weight, you can do all that if that makes you feel better, but you don't have to. Now, something I do encourage you to have is feeding tongs. These are kind of black, they're a little hard to see against the background, but I've got feeding tongs because I don't want them to, if I don't have the rat hot enough, I don't want them to mistake my 98-degree hand for the rat, because that's not cool. I don't want them biting me. If I can avoid a bite, I gladly will. Which, Sekhmet bit me for the first time the other day. Rude. It didn't hurt. It bled a little bit, but it more surprised me than anything. I think you can even see, maybe, there's a tiny, tiny little bitty baby scab from one of her teeth. And she struck fast and she struck hard, and I was surprised, but it didn't hurt. It was surprising. So when you're feeding your animals, just pay attention to where their head is and just make sure they're looking at our little rat friends. So it's been a few minutes and our rat is nice and hot. I have some paper towels so I don't drip rat water everywhere and excite the cats. But when I open this bag, whew, That's a rat smell. That smells like a rat for sure. And we'll show you what we do. Now, Lieutenant Dan, he is already aware that there is a rat. He is coming out of his hide because he can smell that tasty, tasty rat. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the rat on our tongs. And when you're feeding the rat, you want to give it, do what's called the rat dance. You just kind of give it a little shaky shake. Lieutenant Dan, he knows there's a rat here. So what we're going to do a little rat dance at him. Oh, he sees it. And he grabs it. He's going to coil it. And he's going to eat it. Easy. No fuss. No muss. He just grabbed it because it was warm. Smelled like a rat. Looked like a rat. He's good to go. Had to change into my shirt, my pajama shirt, because it's too freaking hot in here. I'm glistening. Now, I think one of the coolest part about having snakes is feeding them and watching them eat. I think it's really cool just because they're just so different from us. With their stretchy jaws and all their stuff, I think it's really cool. And let's watch Lieutenant Dan. He's working on his rat. He has uncoiled, and he is working on his food right now. So Lieutenant Dan is still working on his rat. He's probably he's got the head in, and you can see his nice stretchy face. You're doing a good job, Daniel. Proud of you. I'll give you another few. Oh, there he goes, chomping down. What a dude. Chomp. Now, sometimes he'll do this. Sometimes he'll bring his rat into his house and finish eating in there. He's being a little shy boy today, so we will let him finish his rat in peace, and we will move on to Sekhmet. Okay, next up, we have Sekhmet, and her rat is nice and warm from the sand. I let it sit for about half an hour on each side, uncovered it after half an hour, flipped it over, covered it back up, nice and warm. Our rat is ready to go. Let's feed Sekhmet. Now, Sekhmet can be a little bit harder to feed because normally we'll have to like find where she is hiding. But today, I think she knows it's food day. She has popped herself out and she is ready. She's like, Mama, I'm ready for my food. So let's get that rat. Okay, so we have Sekhmet here and we have her rat here. So Sekhmet is pretty easy. Usually you just gotta kind of put the rat in here. Hey, baby girl. You want a rat? Oh, num 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 num. Now she doesn't coil like Lieutenant Dan. For her, sometimes if we just wiggle it a little bit, she'll coil up. But I don't think she's gonna be doing the coiling today. Look at her. She's got a good grip on the head. Come on, girlfriend. Give it a wrap. No? Okay, you're just gonna hold on to it? That's cool too, friend. That's cool too, friend. So sometimes she'll just sit here and hold on to it. Sometimes she'll just do barrel rolls until she eats it down. But we'll let her hang on to her meal and we'll see what she does. All right, she's slowly kind of pulling herself up to get leverage on the rat. This is a different pose than I'm used to her having. Maybe she'll wrap it, maybe she won't. We will see, little ladybug. Get it, ladybug, get it.
All right, now here she is. We got this sped up a little bit because she was taking her time, but she is just nom 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 nomming that rat down. You can see that scale spread and you can see that stretching so she can fit the rat in. And don't worry about the little bit of substrate on her face. I pull that off in just a minute. But look at that. Bam! It's gone.
And that is that, folks. That is how you feed your snakes. Other people might do it differently, but I hope you've learned something from this little video today. And please be confident in feeding your snake. It's hard to do it wrong. You've got this. If you're intimidated, there's plenty of help out there. There's plenty of people who can talk you through it. Go to your local reptile shop. Mine's Frog Family. You can check them out. Go to your local reptile shop. Be like, hey, how do I do this? And they will gladly tell you how to feed your snake or give you pointers on how to feed your snake. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you like that video, give it a like, give us a follow, maybe subscribe. That'd be cool. But until next time, friends, never stop learning because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. See ya!